Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows.
You through as many holes as possible. 3 shows in the last 5 days you fucked up. Happy Thursday, everybody. Happy Thursday Night Live. Look at this. Intro's fucked up. Shit's delayed. Look at this. I gotta watching shit going on YouTube that's not happening on my screen. Happy Thursday Night Live. Fuck you, StreamYard. I don't know if I'm going to be able to say that as many times during an hour and a half that this show is going to last. In fact, if I have a loss of words and something just needs to pop into my head, if I forget or if I lose the thought, something I'm trying to remember about comics or pop culture, guess what? I'm just going to sub it for fuck StreamYard. Fuck StreamYard. Fuck StreamYard. I'm very hesitant to look for alternatives, but now the familiarity is not even there. You're finding new ways to fuck me. It's like, wow, that one was successful. Let's try this one. Nothing on my panel works. How's everybody doing? And I'm starting to hear this from other streamers too. So StreamYard, my service with you or my money with you, it's on life support. Let's say hi to the chat. Well, actually, no, fuck that. All right, so like I said, I'm really thrown off by the way the show started, and I'm really aggravated right now. But hey, tonight's topics are going to be as is on the thumbnail, along with Brad's birthday, who's actually here. It's H.R. Geiger's birthday, so we're going to go over some of his work and wish him a heavenly birthday. Some cool comics came out today. Actually, quite a bit came out today. Absolute Green Lantern number 11. I've not read it yet, but I will. Superman number 16. He fights the Hawkman. He's evil and his ass kicked. DK, I forgot. What's the night battle? This is a nice one. DCKO boss battle number 1 variant. Vampirella going up against Wonder Woman. And the one, it's the same issue. It's a different variant. Homelander versus Superman. We'll discuss that. That was a squash, in my opinion. Also, just fresh off of my evening with AEW last night with both Collision and Dynamite. Very fun show. Very fun show. AEW's first DC foray. It's a full one. John Moxley's fighting with the mutants from oh fuck. Why do I think this ding is gonna piss me off? Hold on. Where was I? Fuck stream. Let's see. Okay, thanks everybody. I get it. I'm pixelating now. There's nothing I can do from my end. Let me see if it's still the case. Let's try this out. All right, I came in and out of StreamYard. Hopefully that fixed it. It looks like I'm moving just fine now. We're on good internet, so that shouldn't be a problem. Okay, cool. I can hear. All right, I can hear me good now. All right, God damn it. All right, so what a rough start to the show. Let me go ahead and bring Brad in for the while I still can. Piece of shit's overpriced service. You know
apparently
what?
it's happening to other YouTubers we know.
Yeah,
And I'm echoing. I can already hear it.
If it were free, a little bit more tolerable. StreamYard is not free. It's far from free. And I've had nothing but fucking disasters the last 5 days. Now, Brad wasn't late. I just couldn't bring him in because if the service I'm using doesn't work, I can't really do anything. All right. Hopefully we're not pixelated anymore. So yeah, anyway, I don't know how much you guys heard of that. And StreamYard fucked up the stream. We're going to go through comics. I'll go over them again when we get to that segment. We're going to go over some of the work of H.R. Geiger since, like Brad, he was born on February 5th, but decades earlier. We're also going to go over something that happened 38 years ago tonight, which is, like I said, for a wrestling geek like you guys know I am. It was the Saturday night's main event. This was when it wasn't. This was prior to WWE Raw. This is actually when WWE was good.
Wait a minute. Wait. Well, I'm sorry, but we got to before we do any of that, we have to regale our audience with all the major events of my life for every year I've been alive until now.
Who fucking cares? So
important topic, obviously.
Yeah, this was a famous event. This was like the
all the way
culmination.
back to the first day of school.
Okay, don't make me turn the siren on. We'll get to you. Like I said, this was back in 1988. I was watching. This was the culmination of rock and wrestling. This is everything that they had built up to, and this was when Saturday night's main event was actually good. It was special. It was an event. We didn't have 12 pay-per-views at that point in time. We didn't have a bunch of PLEs and live shows in Saudi Arabia. At that point, you had WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and actually you didn't even have the Royal Rumble yet in 1988. We wouldn't get Royal Rumble until I believe in January of '89. So this was back when everything that WWE or WWF at that time did was on actual TV. I mean, you could watch it, and much of wrestling in the 80s, no matter what the federation was taped. This was live. So it was a pretty big deal. So we'll go into that. But yeah, so hopefully those of you who were at the beginning of the show stuck with us through that nonsense. How you doing, Duckman? Go ahead and pick up your copy tomorrow of DC. It's selling out, so I hope you reserved your copy already because it's actually some of these wild. It's a wild comic. Those two covers I gave you are just two of the battles that are in there. But there's all kinds of other stuff happening in that comic. It's really, really crazy. The highlight for me was obviously Superman fighting Homelander. Homelander being the only good thing for me in season 4 of The Boys, because the rest of that season was just kind of iffy. Thought it was going to be a little bit more competitive, and it wasn't. But it's been fun. This whole DCKO thing has been fun. But yeah, I hope you get your hands on a copy. Erin is probably gone by now, but she said she had to go. But I didn't know you live in the house. No, she's not your sister. Brad is not related. That is not related to Erin. It's creepy. It's always going to be creepy.
It's so obvious. Like all the parallels were simpatico, guys. But yeah, she said you had to. I said you had to. I guess we got my head off the remote. Okay, but thanks for the wishes, Erin.
What is the JLU? What am I missing?
I think you're talking about just the animated series Justice League Unlimited.
Oh,
which is really awesome.
I'm staring at the wall for reasons probably high. William, how is AEW? I would have tuned in just to spot you in a 10. I actually spotted myself in it. I'm wearing one of these shirts, so you can actually clearly see me at certain times. I am on the camera angle, right on the. If you're looking at the screen, I was on your upper left, right where the concourse comes in and turns. Our seats were right there in section 204. I had a lot of fun. With that. I mean, I got pictures and stuff. In fact, let's bring that up real quick, because I didn't make that a topic, but hopefully that's not too hard for you, StreamYard. I hope me bringing up my Instagram page doesn't shake your foundations. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. We had 4 hours of wrestling. I mean, obviously, you know, I'm at my happiest when I'm at a live wrestling event, and that was 4 hours. Did you
end up on? They catch you like your face because I think because Aaron is kind of giving you some shout outs on Twitter. Like you pop up on TV or what?
Yeah, I popped up a couple of different times. I was watching it last night, and you can see me not for a lot, not like it was when I went to New Japan, and they actually came over with the camera and zoomed in on me because I had my belt. But I could see myself fleeting. Like I said, it was 4 hours of wrestling. It was a lot of fun. I thought it was a very good show. I love this venue. The venue that they used for this, they used it. This was when I went to TNA. It was the same venue that I went. They used for TNA. It was the Palms, the Pearl inside the Palms. It's a theater. It's more of a concert venue, but it can be adjusted and made accessible for wrestling, and it's really nice, really small, intimate, about 2,400 people. All right, so
it says my birthday hat.
So there's birthday hat. Oh yeah, I mean, I was gonna put a cake under you, but I was like, I ran out of space. So there we are. We're at the Palms. That's the show sign. And then that's me. I'm at my seat. I had pretty good seats. This is where, so if anybody's looking on me TV, I'm right in this general area off to the right there. We got in like really early. Everybody could get, I mean, the only thing I go into this event, man, the lines for souvenirs and concessions in the bathroom is super long. So it took forever for people to start to fill in, but it was a lot of fun though. Like I said, whenever I'm surrounded by thousands of my wrestling geeks. There's a ring set up before, while they were still doing the test. What else we got? There's me, Victor, and Jorge. Those are the guys I go to my wrestling events with when I get a chance. We're just sitting there waiting. And there we go. This is just a panoramic view I thought I'd give for you guys. These people are still filing in. You didn't have to sit there. And then what I like to do when I go to wrestling events in any arena, I like to go see now when you're looking at this screen. So my seat left over balcony. I had really good seats, but I like to go around the venue, pictures at different angles. I just love being at live wrestling events. And this is the one from the balcony. I've always wanted to get the box seats. Are kind of expensive, but there are no bad seats at the Palms at this particular venue. So this is Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega, one of my favorite wrestlers. This is his entrance. I would have to get signed by him, but there was no guarantee I was going to get to around 60. What else did we do? This is Fatburger. So those of you who follow me on social media, make sure you can see that. You know how happy I am with this particular location. I have always said that all fat burgers are not created equal. Save your stupid joke.
My birthday, man.
There are individuals who are not just cooks; they are artists. So it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough that I continued to give this restaurant a 5-star. I needed to meet the hands. I needed to see the hands that made my 2+ pounds of happiness on a regular basis. And there they are. They agreed to do a selfie with me. There they are. And I was certain, and I found out for certain they are the ones that when I order, they're there, because they're pretty much there all the time. There they are. Like I said, they came by, and I told them I was very happy. I'm like, you don't know how much happiness you guys. Well, so there's some merchandise. This cover right here is kick-ass. This cover of Supergirl is done by the same artist, Delano, that did this one right here. Anything he does, he's become like the new Adam Hughes for me. Because when Adam Hughes does something, I just got to get my hands on it. That he did this cover right here.
Sorry, is this like is this an Elseworlds Supergirl?
No, this is the current.
Because because she looks black, and then she looks like almost like Halle Berry. So
you okay?
As Storm. You don't see it? You don't see it?
No, I don't.
Not there. She does to me. And that should be a compliment to any woman to be like compared to Halle Berry. Come on.
She looks very pink to me here. Okay,
maybe it's just the way she's showing up with the computer.
Maybe it's just the way the light. Who knows what's coming over?
Maybe it's
I love these
covers though. Up, yeah.
I mean, well, it's fucking up everything else. Why not? What else I get here? But that's the Spider-Man DNA cover. DNA does these block color covers. I love them. I think I got a Hulk one there. There you go. There's StreamYard. Not StreamYard. I got StreamYard on my brain. It's Homelander versus Superman.
I need to get this look. I'm a little bit. I've only gotten the first DCKO. I need to. They're up to 3 now, aren't they?
Yeah, 4 comes out. This is the DTKO. The battles though. The one-on-one battles. So that's different from the actual miniseries. There's the AEW one, and there is Swerve Strickland, Tony Storm, Orange Cassidy, Will Ospreay go alongside Batman, Zatanna, the Green Lantern. And this is what made it for me. It's the mutants from The Dark Knight Returns, and there's John Markley. Thought that was cool. And then Monet. This is all of them. They promoted this last year at Comic-Con. They were there, and that was why they were there last year. And this is something we're going to talk about. That is the Absolute Batman Abomination. This is the second volume, and it's selling really quick. So if you guys are in your comic book stores, even though people bought a lot of them, okay, I just blinked out. Can you still see me?
We can hear you. Yeah, I think you might be frozen though.
Fuck, you got it.
You can see you, but you're frozen, but we can hear you.
Hold on. All right, I'm gonna have to end up jumping back in.
Okay. Oh, you're moving again.
But okay, there we go. There's the Hulk DNA one right there. So these are called DNA block color covers. So I had a lot of fun with those. All right, so yeah, that was my night of wrestling last night. I had a lot of fun. Like I said, I always have a lot of fun. Now in a couple of months, we got WrestleMania week happening. So WrestleMania.
How far is Caesar's Palace from the Cypher Center?
Caesar's Palace is south of me.
Okay.
It's not that far, but it's traffic-wise, it would be far. Right. Caesar's Palace is basically right in the middle of the strip.
Okay.
Like right dead between north and south, and I am on the very far north of the strip.
Okay, yeah, because it's like the Dome. You said that's within walking distance. Or the Spear, sorry.
The Spear for me, yeah, it's right around there. You go up Paradise,
because like Caesar's Palace, they have a lot of WWE and UFC and a lot of.
Not in a while. No, they haven't had. No, they haven't done Caesar's Palace. Caesar's Palace hasn't been the place for that type of sporting. Usually, they have it at either MGM Grand or T-Mobile.
Okay. Well, how far is that center?
MGM same distance. MGM Grand is like right in the middle of the strip. You have the North Strip and you have the South Strip, and in the middle are all your main properties going all the way up to Tropicana, where Tropicana used to be. That far south end is where the baseball stadium is being built right now. Okay. So no, they're not too far from me at all. Nothing from where I'm at right now is too far away. That's really the
It sounds like traffic is probably a little bit more. It would take you longer.
Well, usually it would. Like the other day, we were up and down the strip in no time because the traffic has been decreased because of a lot of stuff going on right now. We don't have a lot of our foreign visitors, and you don't realize how much that percentage makes up a lot of the traffic when they're not here. Canada alone, Canada and Mexican nationals, you got to realize it's all part of North America. It's an easy flight when you're still part of the continental North America. But yeah, we've seen a huge decrease when it comes to foreign travel, foreign tourism, and that hurts. That hurts. Yeah, we won't go into that. There, you guys will come up with I mean, there are people here who blame it on the resorts fees. Vegas has gotten too expensive and this and that, and that's why people aren't coming. I'm going to objectively say that that's bullshit because at least for my customer, my clientele, most of the people who come here, they're coming here for a business trip or occasion. They plan, they get their deals, they get everything that they need. They know it's not sticker shock when they get here. They know how much it is because they save up for it. So when you're coming here twice a year, once a year, it's like me, like I said, when I go to Comic-Con, there's shit that I will probably do at Comic-Con financially that I would not do here in Vegas or every day. But I know what I'm going into. I plan that. I absorb that. And that's generally not going to keep me from going somewhere. So that may be some of it, maybe. But for the most part, the people that we were missing, that's baked into the entire number for them. They budget for that. They plan for that. And they usually, because they're coming to Vegas, they plan for more than that.
Exactly. I mean, you're not going to go to... Especially if you're flying internationally, I mean, it's like you gotta plan ahead for things.
Yeah, you're not. It's not like you're coming from San Bernardino and you just want to make a quick buck or something like that. If you're coming from another country, you generally are not going to come without those resources. There are other situations, however, and we won't go into them here, that will keep you from going from one country to another. And once it becomes a hassle, they just won't do it.
Yeah.
All right. So,
and now before we go into the next topic, I need to bring up something here. It's actually a little bit travel related, but I need to know. I need either William or somebody in the chat to tell me if this is AI or not, because this does not seem logistically possible.
I'm not a good AI determiner, so it's gonna have to be the chat.
Look at this. The Icon of the Seas, the world's largest cruise ship, 20-story city at sea, weighs 248,663 tons. Measures 365 meters in length, accommodates up to 7,600 people, and costs $2 billion to build. Royal Caribbean's flagship debuted on January 27, 2024. Mainly offers Caribbean cruises departing from Miami. Okay, look at this.
Well, you realize you can look that up, right?
Yeah, but I literally just came across this like as we were talking. It's like this seems like this would tip over.
What's that? Hold on. My sound.
This is a skyscraper on the water.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that that's not real, but
I've seen some big ones. But this is like, you remember like that time I pulled up the one of like I forget the name of it. It was called. It's like the really like the version of this that like flies. That
yeah, that's not That's a concept.
Yeah,
that's not real yet. That's something that I know what you're talking about. That was huge.
Yeah,
that was huge.
Well, apparently, I mean, the people want to bankroll that. I mean, they've talked about like they've researched like the science of like making that happen, but they just haven't gotten it, literally or figuratively off the ground yet. But man, I just like this is like, I mean, if they've actually pulled this off, it's like, I mean, bravo, because I'm no engineer, but this just doesn't seem like it would float. So I'm gonna have to Google this.
Sorry, I'm still checking my. Yeah, you have. I don't. That can't be real, but all right. Brad's birthday counts as like a dunce cap, probably appropriately that. The hat fits. Yeah, Superman versus Homelander. A little bit of a letdown. Let's see. Hey, look, we had one of our three Australians that frequent the show. Not yet. I'm pretty sure you'll get up to something that'll throw me out. Let's see how far behind. I'm behind on the chat because I had to fix shit. There you go. Happy birthday, Red. We 39. Only 1 year left.
It's weird. I've never really mentally or physically felt like older than like 25. And I've heard people
guys.
I sound like I'm, still a teenager in my voice.
Sound like your balls haven't dropped.
Now I saw this question too from Hunter again. Now
by the way, hey, listen, guys, warning. I'm not gonna bring back the ban list because I have too many other issues to deal with. This is the only question about this I'm gonna answer.
Well, and this too, I mean, like it was in theater. This is not uncommon today, where it's like for it to go on digital and still be playing in some capacity theatrically. I mean, that's actually
they do that all the time.
It happens pretty regularly now, even with like big blockbusters.
All right. So yeah, that's coming. This is not towards you, Hunter. Just for everybody, we litigated the Superman subject over the summer, and I just don't. There's nothing I feel like talking about it right now about. So yeah, that's the one and only comment I'm going to make on that. If you guys want to bring up anything, I did get a chance to watch the hearing. If you guys want to talk about important aspects of the hearing, I will answer those questions, and that is not one of them.
Actually, I mean, what else did kind of come out of that?
A lot of it was monopoly questions.
Yeah, it was probably pretty boring, I'd imagine.
Yeah, he answered them, and really, it was answered in common sense stuff. Because what Paramount would do is more of a dangerous monopoly, even if they don't have the complete market share. And here's why: because they have an overlapping business. They're already firing people from when Skydance purchased Paramount. They're already doing consolidation. So if they were to take over another theater, another studio, they're going to do the exact same thing on a much higher level. Thousands of jobs are going to be lost. So not only are you losing a studio per se, but you're losing those jobs. Whereas Netflix and HBO are not the same type of company. One is a streaming company and one is a studio. If they merge, there's no redundancy. There's no overlap because Netflix doesn't have the infrastructure that Warner Brothers has and vice versa. So you don't need to consolidate those. So they brought up that. They brought up the financial stability of the offer. It turns out that Paramount was invited to talk about this, from what I was hearing. And they did not show from what I'm hearing. I don't know how accurate that is, but it would make sense that the oversight committee would want to hear from them because the whole monopoly case was being made by them. So they were not there. The window,
they had shown up because they would have been like whining.
Well, it would be no reason for them. They're already out. A lot of the comment, I mean, like I said, people clipped the Superman thing, but there was a much more involved discussion about the 45-day window and why you would believe him about keeping and this will be explained before. It makes no financial sense for them to do anything to harm the box office because they are basically funneling high-end content throughout their companies, whether it be HBO Max, Netflix, or anything else. It that high value is the theatrical experience for them is what keeps keeps the value coming. So
you hear the phrase like something is like it's not a hard rule, it's a guideline. I mean the 45-day window, that's kind of that falls into that. It's like it's a general outline, but if something's tanking or even just not performing like to a certain level, it's like if it's we could take, we reserve the right to take it out after 35 days if we want. And if it's overperforming, like keep it out longer.
When somebody says underperforming, that doesn't necessarily mean that something was unsuccessful. It just means that they recognized when it no longer had the momentum that
when it hits ceiling.
Yeah, it's important that they maintain that flexibility to do so because you don't want to. I mean, like the people who have this romantic vision of what the box office once was, want things to stay in the cinemas for 90 days. That's absolutely absurd for me. There's no reason other than someone's nostalgia to keep it in there longer than 45 days. Unless you have one of those movies that continues to have legs. And even then, you can move over to digital and still, like we said, and still have it be playing in a theater. And if people want to go see that movie in a cinema and it's available, they will go to that movie in the cinema. But for every movie that's the case, there's about 8 or 9 to 12 of them that is not the case. So they should have that flexibility, and that's what he was clarifying there. But expectations are different. See, when we fans, because for the most part, we're unqualified to determine what's a flop and a failure, unless it's obviously like it's like Waterworld bad or something like that. But if it's when you have these many revenue streams, for every revenue stream we know about when it comes to a movie, there's about 4 or 5 of them that we don't know.
Well, and it can be a flop theatrically, but still be profitable overall because of those ancillary streams.
Well, and we don't know what the expense budget is for any of these things. We guess. Even the best of us with millions of followers, they're guessing. They don't have, most of those numbers are not released. A lot of the stuff that people they're projecting and they're guessing. Like, I don't know how many times I've heard somebody say, "Well, it costs $150 million to promote this," and I'm like, not likely. But we go with that number because everybody says it and repeats it. So we don't have those internal numbers. We don't have the interest rates that they borrowed the money on to make the movie. We don't have the backdoor deals. We don't know, a lot of times we don't know who the movie has been sold to streaming wise. Sony had the Spider-Man movies sold to two different platforms before the movie was even out. So there's a lot of stuff. Fans can determine whether they like a movie or not, and whether they perceive that it's good. But as far as like the dollars and cents and nuts and bolts, it's like I said, it's like me going into a nuclear reactor and giving people advice. It's just not my, it's just not within my abilities. And for most people, it's not, unless you're inside the movie industry, but you have to be inside that particular movie because they're all going to have different circumstances. So do I buy the rumor, that's the R word, that James Gunn is going to direct Brave and the Bold? No, I do not.
No, well, the rumor also comes from, because that's other YouTubers that that we know of and kind of rub shoulders with talk about this. And I mean, I know William's not big on dropping names or anything like that, but I mean, this kind of originates with one particular scooper or insider, whatever term we want to go with, who, let's just say, isn't the most highly regarded and certainly not the most accurate in terms of reporting. So I'll just take that for what you will.
Yeah, and when you guys are, and like I said, I can't, control what other YouTubers do, but information is like ingredients. Your food, if you're making something, no matter what, it's whatever ingredients it is how your food's going to taste. If you put bullshit into your salad, it's going to taste like bullshit. If you put rumors from these guys who are at best 50-50, that's what your content is gonna be. And I don't think enough people do the hey, this is a rumor, take it with a grain of salt. And they don't, some of the higher end ones will tell you what the percentage. This person is it's been right on this, been wrong on that, so take it for what it is. But to me, just even bringing it up sometimes is like, it's a waste of time for me, because that rumor doesn't make any sense to me. We're too far away from it right now to even start guessing that way, and we don't have any information. James Gunn or Eddie Muschietti, neither one of them have given any indication that the status quo has changed. And they're going to be the ones I'm going to listen to in that regard. Plus, we're talking about a movie that's now be year 3 or 4 into the DCU, which means the DCU will be growing. And as a studio head, he's just probably going to not have the time. I would say that that Supergirl, not Supergirl, that Superman, Man of Tomorrow will probably be one of the last ones he does himself.
And when we've talked about that on here, where he's even talked about, he's alluded to, and now, I mean, some of this kind of probably is it's been interpreted as being like a byproduct of the Netflix merger. He's talked about, it's like, I don't know how long I'm going to be around in this, but also he's phrased it as I mean, the whole thing about directing and running the studio, it's like, I don't know if I can do that long term, which is like, that's a lot to ask of one person. So, I mean, I would think like 2 Superman movies, Peacemaker season 2 and Creature Commandos 2 seasons of that. I mean, I would think that would, as far as like directing and co-writing the studio, that'd probably be a good point to say, okay, I've kind of like put my stamp on this and take enough years off my life with all this workload to kind of say, okay, that's enough of that. Let other people do it now.
Yeah. Yes. Fatburger needs to sponsor me.
Good point.
Fatburger, shut up. Fatburger needs to. Fatburger needs to sponsor me, and I think they're starting to get the. The message here, because on both the Twitter one and the and this one, that's them. See at the bottom of there? That's them. I basically, what I said is these 2 queens behind me are the ones responsible for my 2 pounds of happiness on a regular basis. It wasn't enough to leave a 5-star rating. I needed to meet these artists in person and express my appreciation. Not all fat burgers are created equal, and the ones that come from this location, which is Fat Burgers Express, Buffalo Express, which is right off of Flamingo and Rainbow, are in their own class. And then Fat Burger, the corporate Fat Burger, said they're the best. Here are the 2 crowns they dropped, and then they put 2 crowns. I don't know whether it's because I complimented them last night in person. They made, and I got a picture of it somewhere. I think I sent it. They made the biggest one yet. They made the biggest fat burger I've had. And you've seen the size of the ones I eat. For those of you who've met me in person, you know how big my hand is. You know how big I have a big head. I have a big head. And hold on, let me pull this one up, because this is all right. So just imagine, I my head is for those of you watching at home, is as big as you think it is. And no, let's get this one out of here. This one's by the way, Palms. You don't have a Starbucks? Yeah, coffee bean, tea beans. It's all right. No Starbucks.
You got any of that video when you saw Deadpool Wolverine with Rhea and Phil? Because that'd probably give people a good scale.
I have pictures.
Because you're way bigger than both of them.
Yeah, Phil's not a big guy. Phil's about 5, maybe 5'7", 5'8", and Ray is about 5'5", and I look like a sea monster or something compared to those 2.
I'd be the because again I'm the closest size and build wise to William, and even then, he's a lot bigger than me.
This is not a close up version of that hamburger. That is side by side to my head. I did that on purpose. This is the biggest. You can't even see my hands.
Yeah, now, did you check your blood pressure after you had this thing, man?
I'm always good. See, then there's them. And see, the place is so clean that the stainless, it messed up my camera shot. Let's see, there it is. Yeah, there it is. My hand is there somewhere, but this hand is open this wide to get it. And one of them I measured. Man, one of them I had one time. When I got it delivered here during the show, I measured it with the tape measure. It was hilarious. But this one, like I said, if you've met me in person and you know how big my head is, that burger is right next to my head. So, and I told them, look out for my name, because I want you to make them like this all the time. They were happy. They were the nicest ladies, by the way. I think they're part of the ownership of that franchise, but you can go. I've been to Fat Burgers. I've been to the ones on the strip that are like, you know what? You don't care. You're on the strip. You're probably high. You're probably drunk. Here's your burger. Get out of our face. That's not the same. They're Fat Burgers in name, but not in spirit. And then when she handed me the bag, I reached into it, and like I said, that's the heaviest one I've gotten. It cleared 2 pounds. It was no longer 2 pounds of happiness. This was 2 pounds of bliss. This was 2 pounds of a euphoria is what this was. And I opposed with them in the burger, but they were busy as fuck. For some reason, They had the drive-through. I went in. They had the drive-through all wrapped around because they close at 10. Which, by the way, Fat Burger used to be open 24 hours, but y'all know we now we're in Mayberry. So they close at 10. I went right after wrestling because I'm like, you know what? Whenever I have a good time watching live wrestling, I need to go have a Fat Burger. The Palms didn't have a Fat Burger. I thought they did, but that they didn't. So me and the buddies went down there to Fat Burger, and I explained who I was and how I felt, and I guess that they felt the need to load it up, man. It was big. The patties were bigger than usual. And they even remembered the one time I had to go back and remember that time I got the burger and it was missing a patty and they took care of it. They just sent me a whole new burger.
I know you were really pissed off about that.
Yeah, because you know when you pick it up, you're like, okay, if this is 3 patties, I mean, what is a skin cow? What happened here? So I opened that up live on air and I'm like, whoa, no. But we fixed it though. They fixed it. Not only
it sounds almost like something that happened at Good Burger where he gave the guy just a bun when he asked for a burger with nothing on it.
Okay, well, I'm gonna.
You literally had a Good Burger skit happen to you.
No, mine had meat. It wasn't made by stupid people. I don't know. I think what ended up happening is my order got mixed up with somebody else. Because listen, guys, not everybody can consume one of those. You know, you got to be a man's man. You know, to go for the Triple King. I understand if you're a little guy, you're a wee little dude, and your hands may not be big enough. You know, your jaw, you may not be able to hinge your jaws like I can. And your gut is like, I can't do this. I can't absorb 3 pounds of perfection like I can. So you got the people who will buy 1 patty. Why even leave your house? Why even get a hamburger if you're going to do that? And you got the some that'll meet you halfway and go with the two patties. That's only a pound. What? You can just go to Jack in the Box. You're cheating yourself. You're cheating yourself. You're like you're treating yourself to a spa. You know, but you know all you're getting is like a real quick massage and you're out of there. No, if you're gonna go for the burger, go for the burger. And if you're gonna step foot in a Fat Burger, I took a picture of the signs, like the single X, the double X, and the triple X. I was telling them, listen, if they ain't man enough to get 2 pounds, throw them out. Throw them out. Let them go to the other Fat Burgers that don't always meet the expectations. Let them go to McDonald's. Listen, if you go into a place that makes 2 pounds hamburgers and you don't leave with a 2 pound hamburger, you may as well go to the Jack in the Box. Wendy's. Go to Wendy's. Go to White Castle and get a microscopic burger that you'll sneeze and it'll be gone. But for what you pay for a Fat Burger, and like I said, she hooked me up too. I mean, they were happy. I was happy to see them. Our eyes locked, and I'm like, you know how much happiness you've provided me over the years. And I told him, I sent him a link to this the channel. So hey, Fat Burger Queens, I hope you're watching. And Fat Burger Corporate, listen, dude, listen. And Starbucks too. If you're watching, you need to just funnel this stuff to me. I'll let you know when I'm on the air, and we can make a thing out of it. Have it delivered, and we stop the show. We could play music. Your burgers could literally have a wrestling entrance song on its way to my screen. Brought to you by Fat Burger. Brought to you by Starbucks. What do you say? I mean, for the cost of a Fat Burger, you're spreading goodwill. You know how many people I've turned on the Fat Burger? Granted, half of them can't finish one, but hey, doesn't matter. That's not your problem.
Hear that? William is spreading the good news about Fat Burger.
For those of you who all don't know, first of all, Brad's just not funny. I applaud him for the effort, and he's been stuck on this Good Burger thing, one of the dumbest things I've ever seen, but it wasn't meant for me. It was a Nickelodeon thing. It was silly. Eventually somebody's going to laugh at the joke and he's going to pass out of shock. But anyway, no, Fat Burger, come on. I don't eat on the air. I'll take a bite out of it on the air. But look at my streamers, man. You're getting free sponsorship right here. I don't want any money. Slide a burger my way. Hook a brother up, in Starbucks, you've literally put people through college with what I spent at that place. If I go back to Seattle and I visit the headquarters, there needs to be a bust of me there somewhere. As much money as I've loaded that place. I mean, and granted, all the mom and pop coffee places have gone out of business since COVID, so I've wavered a little bit. Rhea got me on Dutch Brothers, and that was good. But Starbucks, literally, dude, as soon as I hit the air, I should have a Starbucks in one hand, a Fat Burger in the other hand, in no particular order. So we're going to work on it, though. But keep tagging you until you realize, damn, this motherfucker consumes like 10 pounds of our burgers a month. He's still alive. So, yeah, Fat Burgers needs to sponsor William. I'm not going to give up until they do either. I still can't believe you can eat the largest hamburger that they make. Yeah, and by the way, guys, I was hungry last night. I get hungry when I watch wrestling events, and I'm too cheap to really spend money on the shit that they got there because it's super fucking expensive. So really, even water, so I wait. It's a 4-hour event, right? 4-hour event. I got some coffee that wasn't Starbucks. I was hungry. Now I can clear 2 pounds with a half. I could have eaten something, and once you open up that wrapper and you smell it, it's going down. I was starving yesterday when I got that. I fucking destroyed that burger. I took my picture of it and I said goodbye. I scarfed that thing down at an unhealthy speed. It was probably quite dangerous how I got that boy down. The largest burger they've ever given me, it was gone before I knew it. And I was kind of sad. I almost licked the wrapper because I was hungry. But yeah, it's the biggest burger, man. I can eat it no problem, man.
Well,
I think my stomach has a bigger problem eating anything less than 2 pounds because it's going to be like, where's the rest, dude?
Yeah, super chat here from Chappie. When can we do the watch-alongs that I paid for on Suits Ever Rent Stream? Can we do some next week after the Super Bowl?
After Super Bowl? Probably I told you, dude, let's do it over the next couple of days. I'm available all day for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, including the Super Bowl. So after that, it's going to be a late night one. It'll happen to be a Monday night one. I forgot which ones you wanted. You wanted a total recall. So and make sure it's going to be a date that it's at that you're actually going to be around, because with our schedules, you and I schedules doesn't line up. Thank you for the super chat though. But yeah,
well, Chappie's been there for some of the some of the memorable ones, like we did like Jaws 3 or Cat in the Hat, and you were tearing apart Jaws 3 as much as I was Cat in the Hat.
I gave it the same critique I gave it when I saw it as a kid.
Well, again, I mean all we have to mention is just like the shark.
Yeah, just stops.
Like that.
On a movie that had way more budget than Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D, it gave you discount 3D, which is really hard to do. If you throw a dart right in the middle of Las Vegas Valley, period. Like I said, we are right in the center of the city. It literally is a sci-fi center. It is right in the center of Las Vegas. Yeah, I saw that. I saw Method Man give his review of that's kind of cool. Everybody loves it, man.
That is crazy.
Yeah, did you Google that ship? That has to be fake. There's no way that could be.
The ship, yeah, I haven't found it yet. Yeah. So it's I haven't seen it yet, so it's probably but yeah, no, I'm not older, William.
It looks old.
That is pretty awesome. I mean, it speaks to the phenomenon that Absolute DC's been, where it's like you got Method Man saying Absolute Batman kicks ass, which it does.
Let's see. I'm here. What are you summoning Omega Swaggers? Let's see. I have insomnia. Okay. Well, hey, I'm the best stream if you have insomnia.
I'm 14 today. I'm 14 today. The thing, I think it's especially listening to myself back on streams. I think that my My voice still sounds very much like an adolescent. I
Sounds
could
like
still pass.
helium, like you inhale.
I feel like I could pass for like someone just out of high school.
If
If I grow my beard, because I got some gray rocking here in my goatee, so it's like if I grow my
usually
beard.
starts at the beard before it hits the head. So
Yeah.
have fun with that. My dad's telling me to do a job. Why does your dad have to tell you to get? Aren't you a grown ass man? Why does your dad have to tell you to get a job? Okay, happy birthday, beard. So
Happy birthday,
two of
beard.
my 3 options.
Here's one for fourth. William Brad, you gonna finish that burger? You're the because you ain't got no choice, especially when Charlie got you by the throat, and that's all you got left. You're with Brad. What?
What?
Wait, what? What is this? Is some,
I'm gonna finish the burger because you ain't got no choice, especially when you by the.
Oh, is this like an apocalypse now something?
Oh, it is apocalypse now. I'm like, where did you pull that one out? I did not see that one coming.
Yeah. StreamYard's just really being a bitch these last couple of days.
My money is good for a couple of years. My family did a good job. Yeah, but what did I have to do with you? You off your ass, man. My old man changed the locks when I turned 18, so I agreed to pay rent. Let's see. Okay, now we're giving Omega a job. Do you guys think studios should go back to the day and date releases like HBO Max did?
No,
question.
You know, it's funny.
Things.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because because I've one of the most anticipated movies for myself and Aaron is which I mentioned quite a bit on the show here.
Two people.
Talk to everybody you saw in Toronto and beyond. That is the Furious. That's upcoming Hong Kong action movie. Now this again, the reporting seems a little bit murky to me on this, but like when they said Lionsgate's guy, they listed it as it's going to do a day and date release.
Yeah, because they don't think it's going to make any money.
Well, I mean it's probably gonna, like, as far as like theatrically, it's gonna do its best like in Hong Kong, in Asia. Like over here, I mean, that's usually like foreign imports of like Asian action movies. I mean, they tend to do that. They have like a limited theater run and then digital. But like post COVID, this is the first I think I've heard of anything like doing like the day and date HBO Max release model. So, but that's like just one example. So, like as far as that being like a general norm kind of thing, I think
not now. Yeah. Not because there's no situation that dictates.
Yeah, well, and the directors, I mean, you remember how up in arms they were about that too, which is like it's now again, the situation kind of made it necessary at the time because of COVID, but still, I mean, if that's how much they were like not thrilled about it during a pandemic, I mean, imagine now if you tried that.
But see, for every Nolan that whined about it, there's directors who are going to be like, I either take this opportunity to work.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and
I don't. So,
by the way, I don't know if you've seen that he's not over the moon about the Netflix Warner Brothers merger, and it's probably for similar reasons as like the whole kind of falling out he had with them over Tenet.
Yeah, and did he give them back their $52 million? No, I mean, so
well, and that's what I kind of it's something that Ashley and I kind of talked about at the time, where we said because I always felt like they should have done what Fast and Furious did that year, was they kicked it back a year to when theaters were at least somewhat stable by the next year, and they were able to. Well, and that's where I like, if I'm Warner Brothers, I've made no secret about my criticism of Warner Brothers over the last couple of years, but this is one area where I definitely I sympathize with the Warner Brothers management, where I tell him in that situation, okay, you want to roll the dice and put this thing out in a wide release theatrically, we're in the middle of a pandemic, we've got a crime scene tape on every other row in the theaters, okay, we'll go ahead and do it, but don't say we didn't warn you. And by the way, like, we're the ones who are like losing $50 million on this by indulging in this.
But his gripe now isn't valid, because he's making these assertions that the sky is falling. People are making, and not only has this already been explained, to me, his opinion is coming from somebody who's an old school filmmaker. This isn't the old school anymore. Everything has changed.
Yeah, I mean, Nolan. I mean, I think it's like he's definitely not a streaming guy as far as like the.
No, he's not. He's not a streaming guy, but he's in a streaming world.
Yeah, well, and that's it's been kind of interesting to see that dichotomy sort of develop because you've seen like a lot of high profile directors like to varying degrees kind of embrace or sort of fight against the streaming model. I mean, like Nolan's definitely been one of the most prominent voices of like
So I got Del Toro.
He's writer. Yeah, Del Toro, exactly.
I can get a Del Toro that'll do it for me.
Yeah. So, who else is like really kind of like Cameron? I don't think he's gonna ever he's gonna be ride or die as far as theaters. Who
But
else?
It's not a blanket thing, though. See, and that's the thing. You have to go project by project. Not every project is going to be addressed the same way. And what Nolan is doing, and a lot of people who are doing is, once again, you're judging the Netflix cast. You can't do that. All right, with the future that Netflix is presenting with Warner Brothers is something completely different. You cannot use what they've done prior to this merger when it happens to assess what will happen in the future. You're talking about an entirely different company. You're talking about an entirely different financial structure. You're talking about an entirely different value structure. So when people say this stuff, half of them are being disingenuous, and the other half are just not following the money.
Somebody who I think it really has kind of like embraced it while also kind of like wanting to have the theatrical element to it. Really, I think is Zack Snyder, because he went has the old Netflix. He did Army of the Dead and Rebel Moon with them, and Army of the Dead had like the limited theater run, and we even saw it the other day when he posted on Instagram. His Justice League. I mean, that was released as a streaming movie, and he was still, I think, in a button pushing way, saying, "Oh, I wish this got like more people got to see us in IMAX." But when you see like the way Army of the Dead rolled out, where it's like it was a Netflix movie, but it had a theater run, I think he's, with what he's done with Netflix, he's kind of been somebody who's been willing to kind of find the middle ground where it's like, okay, this can be like a primarily like a streaming release, but he would still want it to have a theater run that's like wide enough that people can have a realistic shot at seeing it theatrically if they wanted to. Like it's like 1 or 2 week kind of thing, but not like it's like this has got to be out in 90 days no matter how good or bad it's doing.
Yeah, the 90-day thing is I just don't see why. Like I said, I think that is a lot of that is nostalgia, and a lot of that is just emotion. It can't be based on math because it makes no sense. It makes no sense. It doesn't even help the exhibitor out. Okay, so you got 16 to 18 screens, right? What do you want propagating?
That's a big theater, by the way.
Let's say the average is what, 12 to 14, maybe.
Yeah, mine has like as the ones I go to have about 10 or 11.
Okay, so the ones out here mostly have 16 and 18. So let's cut the difference. Let's go 14, right? So I got 14 screens. You're a distributor. You're putting out movies. Now, as a exhibitor, what do you want on your screen more? The brand new movie that's going to be at the height of its crest when it's making its 82% during those first 2.5 weeks, or you want the tail end diminishing returns? So in order for that cycle to keep up, you have all these studios that are putting out new movies. Studios put out movies every month. There's a new release every month of something, multiple releases every month, every week, pretty much, right? So how are we doing this 90-day thing anymore? And how is that worth it for anybody? So if I'm the distributor, if I'm the studio, and I'm paying for this stuff, I'm paying for everything on this stuff, I want to keep everything viable. I need my new movies in there on your platform, but I don't need diminishing returns, because once I take that movie off of that platform, I'm putting it on a PVOD. Now it goes back up. Because that guy who couldn't go to the movies, he's seeing that new movie, which is a new movie for him. So it's the same thing as somebody who can go to a theater. That person that can only do the PVOD thing is now going to collapse on that movie. So you basically want to keep everything in each platform that's at the highest. Why would I want to do 90 days? For me, like I said, they'll hate me. I say 30 days max, with exceptions. Like just like Ted Sarandos, one way or another, you either close that in or you can widen that depending on the math of the day.
Well, give me an example, like of something that would, in like a recent memory, would have been the exception as far as like longer than 30 days.
You got like Avatar.
Like Avengers Endgame. Avengers Endgame, I think that's something that you could definitely
any
justify.
top tier MCU movie, any A-list MCU movie. I wouldn't even say DCU because you're going to start diminishing at that point. They're not at the place.
Would you say Star Wars?
We have those leagues.
Would you say Star Wars? Anything Star Wars?
If it's a Star Wars proper movie, yeah. If it's a Star Wars proper movie, not a Solo story or a Mandalorian or something like that, but if it's an actual Star Wars movie, then you even still though, because I can't predict you how these movies are going to do. We can go on their resume and say, every Star Wars movie that's been released in this era has been $1 billion and same thing. But at the same time, you have to realize that every movie, every time is going to be different. How much? Where is Avatar, the last Avatar at? It's made a shit ton of money, but I think it's significantly less than
it's the least of the three. But I mean, it's like when you're talking about Avatar, that's the least of the three. Still, like most movies would love to get that high.
If Avatar can be affected by the times and the climate like that, then a lot of other movies will be able to. So you have to be able to judge.
Okay, so Avatar, Fire and Ash, that right now is sitting at 1.416.
Okay, so you have to play it by ear. If it's rolling, once it starts dropping a huge percentage, you got to get it out of there. You got to flip it from one pan to another.
And that's great money, by the way. Like 1 point, like I said, like it's the lowest of the Avatar movies. Most movies are that's the envy of most blockbusters to make that much.
But you have certain movies like, okay, Clayface. Clayface might do good, but are you going to do 1.4 billion? Movie. Yeah, but it's a smaller movie. How long do you keep that in the theaters versus another movie that you might want to roll in? First of all, you have to go to where your customer is. A lot of people want to assail, the streamers and all these other guys who create this content. It's the same people that made this environment are the same people who killed bookstores. The same people who killed a lot of brick and mortar. It's the customer. The customer has made this choice. The customer has made this option. You provided it. The corporate people provided the decision. They provided the option, but the customer ultimately chose the option. So if the customer is shifting to where the percentage of movies he sees in the box office is much smaller, that the people making those movies have to go in that direction. They can't rely on a director's nostalgia or a film goer's nostalgia. That doesn't pay for shit. Christopher Nolan's going to get his money. He gets his money first dollar. So yeah,
how what do you think the Odyssey's going to do?
I don't know.
I mean, because I wouldn't have
it could be another Tenet for all I know.
Yeah, it could be either Tenet and Oppenheimer, of course. I mean, it did that far away from $1 billion, but of course it benefited from Oppenheimer.
Take Barbie out of the theaters when Oppenheimer did. Oppenheimer doesn't come anywhere near that.
Like Tenet, like take away COVID, like how well would that have done?
I still think that would have struggled because of the concept. And that's why I'm not 100% sure on how much money the Odyssey is. That's not some shit that you just throw out there and say, oh, wow, let's go. You know what I mean? It's a very, very broad. It's kind of like Dune. Dune made it $700 million, but Dune, and it has the same advantages that Dune has with the all-star cast and
the Odyssey wasn't cheap.
I don't know if the concept.
It was $250. I mean, that's the budget I'm looking at right now. And yeah, it's got everybody apparently who's ever been in a movie is in
that movie. But I don't know where we're gonna be when that movie gets released as far as financially goes. Whether people are gonna be going to the movies, maybe if a full-on trailer comes out and people just don't. I don't know. I'm gonna go see it because it looks like one of those high-end movies. That I may be interested in. I mean, Nolan's, it's a mixed bag for me, but when he's on, he's on. But that might be a movie, if the bankers are like, oh, okay, we're having a really bad second week, let's get the Odyssey over into PVOD where we get the lion's share. Because remember, once it goes to PVOD or the streaming areas, they get the lion's share. We're cutting out the theaters, we're cutting out the distributor or the exhibitors. And that, hey, listen, 35% might not sound a lot to you. Do the math. 35% of hundreds of millions of dollars is a significant savings once they move it off that platform. So there should be no blanket rule. The standard should be if they want to keep it 45 days. But they should also leave the caveat that, hey, if this movie fucking bombs, if it absolutely tanks after week one, and we just get bad reviews, and we don't think we can, and we got other movies that are on our way, and we're going to limit our screens, and that has to be an agreement with NATO and all of them, not just the one studio, because gentlemen's agreements of when we're going to schedule our movies for here and there, because the exhibitor, which is a theater, has to accommodate all the studios. So it's just going to be a.
By the way, also
people are just spreading too much misinformation about it.
The other thing too, with like Nolan's kind of commentary and then Netflix more this merger me, it's also he doesn't just carry a cloud as just like from his filmmaking pedigree. He's also the president of DGA now.
Yeah, and like I said, but he's coming from a point of view that is not the customer. And I think this is what a lot of people forget. The customer has more power than Nolan. Customer has more power than Spielberg. Customer has more power than if the customer trends go this way, it doesn't matter how many Oscars or how powerful this guy is over here. You can only go so far away from your customer. If they can't do it or won't do it, you have to adjust. No matter how nostalgic you feel about any of this, how the feel-good feeling when you were a kid and we went to the movies every week just like me, the modern climate right now doesn't lend itself to some luxuries like that, or it limits themselves to like, you can't, okay, maybe 3 movies a month sometimes, maybe can only go to 1. And sometimes those other 2 are the only place I'm going to see them is on streaming. So a lot of people that have the problems with Netflix and streaming and any of that are the people, for the most part, who are not going to be affected by not having the resources to go see all these things all the time. You're talking about a multi-million-dollar director. We're talking about billionaire, producers and stuff like that. They are a part of the equation, but without the customer, you don't have shit. Customer made these decisions, not them. I couldn't golf a palm of tennis. Couldn't palm a tennis ball. I wish that were true. I have iguana hands, dude. I don't have my tape measure here, but I have. I don't have anything to relate to. Well, a comic book. Comic books are 8 inch. Okay, so a comic book for the most part is what, 8 inches high?
Yeah.
8
Roughly,
inches high, and about
and
10
yes,
inches.
it is my birthday, Bill. Oh wow!
So this is the comic book.
Hold on.
My hand. So yeah, I do not have small hands, and I have even bigger feet too. So,
you can see how mine measure up. The minor.
Yeah. See, Brad's hands are considerably smaller than mine.
Yeah. They're not small, but I mean they're smaller.
Oh,
than
yeah,
mine.
they're not small, but I mean they're smaller. Yeah. It's hamburgers are very American. Even though I think hamburgers were created in Europe, but I got you. Let's see. I'm a geek with no money. I know that.
Actually, another one I kind of thought about too as an example of like what would you keep in theaters beyond like the 45-day mark. Sinners, I think probably you could make it pretty because of how like much of a and I didn't do $1 billion, but I mean like for like what it for the movie that it was, and like the kind of like the sleeper hit that it was. I mean, I think that's something you could like to make the case for really keeping that out as long as you could.
No, because you're still dealing with the same percentages. As good as Sinners was, and it got re-releases and stuff, I'm going to get another re-release because of the Oscars, but it doesn't change the saturation point. The majority of people who saw Sinners saw it within that window, that opening window. Now, you had people come back and see it, but not at the volume that so the volume at weeks 3, 4, and 5, and 6, and whatever you were keeping in for 90 is not the same as the opening volume, which means you're still dealing with diminishing returns. Unless it's a movie like an Avatar or something that has consistent legs, doesn't really have a peak necessarily, but it's consistently in making a certain amount of revenue to the point where like, okay, I can justify this. Most movies, the best movies you see are going to be movies that are going to be front loaded. And most people will go see, especially in the spoiler culture, most people will go see that movie as soon as possible. So yeah, this Sinners made, if you look at Sinners' breakdown of how it made its money, how any of these movies, the bulk of this money is made at the beginning. You're not really doing, because you're keeping you're keeping a movie on the screen that is making less than it did with each coming week, like all movies are going to, when Warner Brothers could put another movie in that spot. Just lost Brad. I don't know if that's an internet thing or streamer thing. So yeah, that's where I got to figure out, like, how are we doing this 45 or the 90-day stuff when you only have so many screens? And then now we're talking about IMAX. There's people with deals with IMAX, so you don't have as many screens as let's see.
Sorry about that.
Yes, they are, Clint. They're, I don't know, beautifully. Let's replace the word absurdly with beautifully.
Yeah, good advice.
Shut up.
We got Shap from Belrev. William Brad thoughts on what Netflix CEO said. We talked about that the other night, and we talked about it a little bit. I mean, Williams definitely he's. I mean, I think personally, it's like I'm a little bit more willing to kind of like kind of drill into that because it's you know. I mean, he was like what he used, like the other example. He used Superman. What was the other one he used as an example?
He used Sinners.
Yeah, Sinners. So, and that kind of goes what I was saying a minute ago. It's like I mean, Sinners made less than Superman in absolute terms, but also like it had more legs. So probably like I think it illustrates like the expectations for the two of them. That highlights that you can't compare exact things in terms of like what you expect one movie to do, another to do. I mean, my only thing about it was it's like, I mean, there was the explosion about it from The Usual Suspects. I mean, it's like
but they all have their own YouTube channels.
I mean, I won't deny watching certain people sweat about it. That wasn't a little bit entertaining, but that's
okay.
me.
Hold on, time out. Hold on. What other YouTubers
Oh no, you're there
on their shows?
Oh no, you're there.
I don't care. I know that there are plenty of people who made a non-topic into a topic.
Yeah, one more from Bell here.
That is their show. That is their time. I watched the whole hearing, and I find it quite sad that that's what we picked out and we focused on. $84 billion plus merger. And we blew that much time talking about a movie that has not been in the cinemas since the summer. I can't control what people waste their time on the channels. I can't. All I can do is not watch. So, yeah. Conan. Come on. No. It's not a topic. I think we've hurt this platform, to be honest with you. Not every firecracker is a nuclear weapon. Sometimes the appropriate conversation needs to be had at the appropriate levels and the appropriate proportions. And that flippant, and you're talking about a guy who is probably judging all comic book movies by the Marvel standard, or what he thought the Marvel, because to be honest with you, he's not part of Warner. You asked him about 2 movies that are from a studio that his company doesn't even own yet. Most of these fat cats, much to their, disadvantage sometimes, when they think comic book movies, sometimes they think MCU, they think billions. So if you think that every comic book movie, because you don't really pay that much attention to the nuts and bolts all the time, because you got your own thing that you're running, is supposed to make $1 billion, then 600 and whatever million it made doesn't seem a lot. Given $185, $200 million budget, maybe that doesn't seem a lot for you. But the way he brought it up, as a matter of fact, was basically how it should have been received. But like I said, $84 billion industry-changing merger, and we combed through it, and that's what we spent time on. So no, to me it was a non-topic. It was maybe at its best, you can take that one off. Thank you for the super chat, Bell. Maybe that would have been a topic in July, in August. We're in February. And what Superman made box office wise, it's not going to change anything for me. It could have made $8 billion. Still not as good as Man of Steel. Right? It's not.
Oh, careful! You're gonna get mobbed for that. I mean, I just posted about the Warehouse being the best Batman fight scene. People could handle that shit.
I could give two shits less. And it's any movie. What have I always said, guys? Movies, 3 M's. It's your moment. It's your money. It's your memory. You can express your opinion to somebody else to have a movie conversation about it, but you don't got to go to war for it. You do not have to get into the trenches trying to defend Man of Steel or James Gunn's Superman. You don't have to do that. And I think that's what's ruined this whole thing is that I don't have to put on a jersey to defend one. I liked it. I had fun with both movies. I had a majestic time at Man of Steel. You know, two different types of Superman, 2 different goals, 2 different stories, 2 different storytellers. That's all it is to me.
I don't sound bad. Yeah, she says thank you, by the way.
No problem. Like I said, I just don't want to spend any more energy talking about things like that don't make me happy.
Damn it.
You know, that's old.
You can make a profit. You can make a profit. I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, you can still, and that's why you have so. That's why these dates are so important. Like when they, like when Annabelle came out. Annabelle had a fucking streaming date before Annabelle moved into the theater for the first time. Annabelle was 21 days. They had that shit on Paramount Plus. You know, bam, or Peacock. Peacock. It was Universal Monster. So I like having streaming out there available because it back ends your decision making. So I truly believe that some movies will not get made if there's no backup plan to get that money back. But if you say, okay, we're going to spend this amount of money in a movie, this is what we think it can make low end, where's the rest of this money we're about to lend you coming from? Or wherever you're, well, we got streaming. And we look at, you come in with your case, you're like, okay, this type of movie, this type of genre does bonkers on this platform. And they're like, okay, cool. So you set up your deals, you set up your contract. So this goes here, here, and here. Do you get this cut? This is what we get. And then that way you say yes. Because you've softened your landing by having somewhere else where it can get high-end money. $29 for a movie, that may sound like a lot for a single person that's just going to the movie on his own. But for somebody on date night or family night in some of these movies, that's a good deal. You're not going to get that kind of deal in the in the theaters. You get your Redenbacher, you go to the dollar store, get your candy and everything else. You got little kids sometimes who are like, they don't really appreciate the cinematic experience anyway, so you don't have to babysitters are expensive, depending on where you're at. If you're Brad, you gotta canoe yourself down the Delta to get to a good theater. Sometimes you may not be near a theater. Some areas don't play all the movies. I know that's because some of us live in like major cities and stuff like that, and metropolises. There are places where you gotta drive a bit, and I'm not being joking. You gotta drive a bit or more than you really want to go see these movies. So once again, the customer is here. The industry has to move halfway between the customer and the needs of everybody else. So you can make a profit.
And that's right. That's why I said I think Zack Snyder is actually one of the directors who's actually been kind of one of the most willing to meet the studios in the middle as far as like, okay, streaming with like the primary home of like this project or that project, but can I have some kind of theater run for it? I feel like he's kind of sensed where the wind's blowing the most and sort of adapted the best to it as among a lot of like high profile directors.
I mean, I guess he could probably petition for to have it along with BVS. If they say, for instance, they may, we don't know. Well, actually, they're not going to because they would.
It's interesting too with like Nolan because he and Nolan and Snyder, of course, they're really close, and I think they're kind of a yin and yang as far as like their perspectives on streaming and how they've respectively responded to it is within their own work. And
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Nolan has an opinion; it should not be taken for gospel. That is his opinion. But you have another director who's been directing for a while, and you have other. Listen, Nolan
Yeah, Del
has
Toro
the
with
same
Frankenstein, yeah.
amount. Yeah, Nolan has the same amount of Academy Awards as Del Toro does. Who am I listening to here? You know what I mean? It's all going to be a matter of perspective. But,
William
you know,
can't cook if it ain't a microwave.
I know the exact term. If it's not microwavable, it's not edible.
I'm not a big cook either. Oh, here's a good one from me from Omega Swiper. Brad, what's your favorite movie from your birth year? That's an interesting question. You know, as for me, for my birth year, it might be kind of a toss-up between like RoboCop and Predator. I think it's like I can go back and forth, but those are really I grew up with both of those. I've been on a real RoboCop kick lately. As you guys, those you follow me.
Yeah, it's quite sad, but yeah.
Why is it sad? RoboCop is awesome.
Sure.
You didn't say that when we were doing the Predator watch-alongs.
Well, Predator's a classic.
Well, yeah, but I have Predator movies I don't like, i.e. the Predator. Actually, speaking of that, did you see the news today? Like Dan Trachtenberg signed a first look deal with Paramount.
Yeah, I always giggle when it comes to first look deals because they're not real contracts. They're
because it's first look is another way of saying right of first refusal, basically.
Pretty much, and if it's an IP that they don't own, then
well, that's what I was kind of like. I was curious your thoughts on that. Like, what does this mean for like his involvement with Predator, and does this like impact that at all? Like as far as like the ending of Predator Badlands, or is he going to hand it off to somebody else, or what have you?
As long as he does, as long as he writes the script and does a executive producer.
Yeah, because he's got Trachtenberg's got my total fealty on Predator right now. He's got my total fealty. Really, like he's like
not just someone can't come do a good job as well, but if he wants to continue doing,
well, he's 3 for 3 on Predators, which is like 3 for 3 on Predators, which is like which is the best I think anybody's done with Predators at it.
Well, you had 3 individual people go, and I don't count Aliens versus Predator. So the original people who did the original movies, as far as Predator proper, they were 3 for 3 too. Predator 1, Predator 2, and then Predator.
I'm talking about like as far as like any one person who's done Predator.
Yeah, but like I said, other people, he's great, but other people, I would not. If somebody else had to do one of those movies, I'm
not discounting McTiernan or anybody else, any of the directors, but it's like, and he's also, I think he's the only Predator director who's like gotten like subsequent. Who's done a sequel or who's done an animated movie, so his run is kind of unique on it, but that's why.
Yeah, because we're in unique times. We didn't have that shit in the 80s.
Yeah, it's true. So whatever he wants to do with Predator, he's totally got my vote. But to answer your question, Mega Swiper, I'd probably say for my birth year, it's kind of a tie between RoboCop and Predator.
Mine is easy. Godfather Part 2 was released the year I was born. All right, so let's see what we got here before we go into. Oh wow, I'm way down. Boneheading questions. I'm skipping. Omega, I don't know what's going on with you and the whole what you're talking about there, so I'm just gonna go ahead and skip it. I don't think he's ever gonna change, nor does he need to. But and Christopher Nolan can have his opinion, but people got to realize that his word is not gospel. You have Scorsese did one on streaming. You have another Academy Award winner. It's gonna be whatever works best for that director. Now it didn't work for Nolan because he's got a different view of cinema. But I mean, I think Scorsese has achieved some stuff in Hollywood too. So his opinion is just as valid as anyone else's. It's just where do you fall in that opinion is all. Let's see. All right, so Brad had a birthday, which is great, wonderful.
Yeah, so now we spend the rest of the evening regaling you guys with every major event in every year of my life up to this point. So it all started when the day of my birthday, when I learned to walk, and then my first book that I learned to read was Green Eggs and Ham, and then on my first day of school, I actually got off at the wrong bus stop, and I had to like walk on the rest of the way. And...
All right, guys. So remember when I said he's not funny?
That's true, by the way. That really happened to me on my first day of school. The bus stop, I got at the wrong bus stop, and I was like, "Oh shit, where did I end up?" That wasn't like terribly far, but I mean, at that age, it felt really harrowing. So And then I get home and they got my mom and everybody's got balloons like welcome home, first day of school kind of thing. And then they're seeing me in tears coming home. So that was a real hell of a way to start off school.
Sounds like a wuss moment to me, but here you go.
Oh.
So anyway, so somebody important whose birthday was today. So. Oh, by the way, Michael Mann's birthday is today, but we talk about him clown year round. So he's 84, so he's a bit older than you, bud. About 44 years or so. But another person that was born on this day in 1945 is H.R. Geiger. We're talking about a guy who, I mean, you're looking at it. Designed the design that would be one of the most iconic science fiction horror movies of all time. One of the great horror movie aliens. One of the most successful. Yeah, we've had some really stupid movies. That's not his fault. Yes, we've had Alien 3, we had Alien Resurrection, then we had Alien vs. Predator and Requiem. Despite that, this design has carried over. This is one of the most, his Alien is one of the most recognizable things in cinema. It's been copied. I mean, in the late 70s and early 80s, when, the craze, especially when Aliens came out in mid-80s, you had space whatever, and they all look like knockoffs of these. Just changed enough to not get sued. But this what you're looking at is the original concept design when Ridley Scott went to him. This was the original concept design. That's DCK. We'll get in that. I didn't get my pictures in order because I originally uploaded the pictures, but guess what happened, guys? You guessed it. This is one of the corridor ones. And if you notice this, obviously you've seen any Alien movies where they are on the ship, this is one of the designs that looks like inspired that or was inspired by it. Hold on for a second. Let's see. Dude, I'm getting as hungry as I was for that burger. It's dangerous. So and it's just his artwork is mechanical to exotic. Some of the stuff I can't, some of the stuff you can't. I have Geiger artwork here, but some of it is so explicit that I can't put up here. We'll get to that one. There we go. This is probably one of the most famous ones too. Come on, we'll talk about that. There we go. Lil. I have the poster of this. I saw this here framed. They had a toy. McFarlane actually made a toy of this. The 3D toy of this. But that's noticed. Okay, this one's the one right here. This one gives me chills every time I see it. Every time I see this, I think of Alien. I think of the mystery of Alien. I think of now that I've seen more movies, and I think of it even more when I think of Prometheus, because of the glimpse of the history that they gave you. Now you know what that is, and to see in Prometheus, to see that in action, to see after decades of looking at that one with the hole in its chest and it's just dead and just calling it the space jockey. Now we know they're the engineers. We know who they are. We know where they are. We know what that does. So this picture gets a whole lot of meaning to me. But H.R. Geiger, he died in 74, 75. But he was strange. He was strange, and he has a museum. I think in Europe that I would love to go see. But yeah, H.R. Geiger was born this day, 1945. All right. Answer some questions, and then we'll hit. Well, let's talk about well, I did talk about it before StreamYard went. Well, the DC. Did you get a chance to
The absolute.
No, not absolute. Well, Absolute Flash came out last week.
Yeah.
I just got them back in. And
There's a few I'm behind on, but yeah, this Superman and Homelander, I have not read them.
Okay, pretty much cleans his clock.
Yeah, I mean, was I running out?
The cover makes it look like it's a little bit more, but Yeah, Superman pretty much. I mean, you have Wonder Woman fighting Red Sonja, which is not. I'm sorry, that looks cool, I guess, but I didn't read the premise of it. So, power wise, look, I'll clap some bracelets together and that by Red Sonja. The artwork in here is really good. Um, but yeah, this is you see Sub-Zero's in there. Sub-Zero's fighting Plastic Man and Black Lightning. Really fun matchups. I really enjoy the fact that they are bringing IPs from different walks of life, different companies. But let me get you to the. Let's see. And then you see Absolute Batman. The universes are starting to collapse. There's Absolute Batman. So you'll see them, Absolute Wonder Woman. You'll see them in DCKO #4. Be sure you're there on the first day for that one. Because that one is going to, let's see. Yeah. Like I said, the artwork, my favorite ones is I think it's done by different people. But the Red Sonja fight with Wonder Woman is ridiculous, but it still looks cool. But yeah, he pretty much has his way with him, and I'm enjoying this whole thing. The Batman one was really good, and then Batman has his own with the Damian's kid on there with him, and then something else that came out. So I had to speed through that, but that whole StreamYard thing cost me what 10, 15 minutes. This came out. So as these things get more expensive and some of the earlier issues for the first year start to fall out of reach for you as far as like financially, because there's people out there charging $200 for #1, and then some of the other issues are going up and down. It's fluctuating, but have no fear. Soft cover set you back $20. $20. This is the Absolute Batman Abomination. This covers the entire Bane storyline, all the way up until just recently. And I still have all of these. It has all the variant covers in here. This storyline, I love the storyline. Like this is obviously there's your Absolute Harley Quinn. So this goes from issues I think 9 all the way up until there's the rest of the variants. 9 all the way up until what 14 or 15. 14. And there's the covers. You guys have obviously seen some of these covers here. If you are wanting to get into actually 8, because there's a Mr. Freeze cover right that I still have. If you have been sidelined and you want to get into these things now, and you're not necessarily getting to them to hoard them and thinking you got platinum and you're going to sit on them and retire. If you just want to get into it because you've heard people talk about, you've heard me, you've heard Brad, all your friends that are, if you're in the geekosphere, we're all talking about Absolute DC, and you just want to get in, $20 gets you like 7 or 8 issues. And we also have most places that will have this will have the Zoo, which is the first 6 story. So every story arc, as it's finished, will go to print. So Absolute Batman is the first one to have a second volume out because it was the first one released. You can get it in trade paperback. I recommend it. Or if you're somebody who doesn't necessarily want to spend a lot on the individual issues, but wants something nice to have, hardcover. Everybody who has this will have this. And each of these volumes has a hardcover. Like I have a Absolute Superman hardcover, softcover, Wonder Woman hardcover, softcover. It just all depends on your preference. Some people like having a nice hard cover edition. It's the same preference when people buy paperbacks versus hardcovers. Hardcovers are generally more expensive. How much is this one? This one's $30, so it's $10 difference. $10 difference, but these are out right now. Every contemporary that I've talked to is moving a lot of these. even if it sells out though, because it's a trade paperback, and it's literally the term trade paperback. When I was a kid, you literally traded them. You either traded them with your other geeks to get another book that you hadn't read that they had, or you traded them back to the store, and you put them back on the shelf, and then they would give you you could use that as credit percentage off. But these are literally designed to be handled and not tossed around. Don't do that. But if you read it and you're trying to get somebody else in the absolute, trade it, hand it to them, let them read it. It doesn't hurt the value of anything. But now we're getting to the point where these things have gone up in price to where you don't want to lose people and not have them get access to the stories. The priority is the stories. Get them involved in these stories, and eventually, hey, you know what? These prices are going to come down, or your financial wherewithal will come up. But in the meantime, be reading Absolute Batman. Be reading Absolute Wonder Woman. Superman just ended his arc. By the way, Absolute Superman, number 16. We get to see that asshole that is Hawkman. He cleans Superman's clock in this episode, or this issue. Why can't I say episode? But once again, we're back to that orange red color that was coming out in the back. Something else that came out, because a lot of you we were losing our sound when I was introduced to AEW. At last night's show, if you bought one of these to the merchandise booth, you got an autograph one. They had an autograph one there for you, the first 5 people. So I'm like, there's fucking thousands of people here, so I didn't even chance it. But I'll get one autographed at Comic-Con. The DCKO. This is the variant cover. This is Wonder Woman versus Vampirella. Harris Comics versus IP versus a DC IP. More of an even battle. This is the variant I was talking about. The foil variant for the Batman 1-on-1. Careful here. Lots of foil covers coming out these days. The foil covers, unlike when they did in the 90s, they're lessening the print run. So this one is this is the Night Fight. This is Batman's fighting different versions and everything else. That's the variant cover. But now what they're doing with the variant covers, these days, that's what the original cover looks like. I actually sold out of the original cover. This has been doing really well. I got like 2 of these left. And the foil covers are like $8 a piece. Good storyline. If you're into Batman, not only is Absolute Batman doing well, but Matt Fraction's Batman is doing well, and this is along those lines. And Absolute Green Lantern, I have not read this yet, but I haven't been dissatisfied with Absolute Green Lantern. It's just taken my peeler brain a lot longer to catch on to everything here. Same thing with the Flash. The story is different than the other Absolute books. Same thing with Martian Manhunter. And your enjoyment of certain books like that will depend how much knowledge you had of the characters in the standard universe. But even if you don't, that doesn't stop you. It's just you made it a little bit more time. So that's what came out this week. I haven't had a chance to read most of the stuff.
Yeah, I haven't got. I'm usually I go to my comic book store locally on Saturdays. So that's probably when I get Absolute Superman 16 because man, that Hawkman fight I want to see.
Yeah, it's pretty one-sided, but I won't spoil it for anybody.
Oh no, it's because Hawkman, I feel like he's a character. I feel like he's always like kind of just on the cusp of like really being like prominent as far as like public recognition of DC characters. I think Black Adam kind of helped give him a lot more exposure publicly, and what they've been doing with him at Absolute, again, like William says, he's kind of a dick.
So, and the first time you see him, he's doing something that doesn't quite endear you to him. So,
I mean, he reincarnated Egyptian prince. He's lived and died so many times. Like it's like pissed him off.
Oh, and what he does to Green Arrow immediately. Yeah. I mean, as far as the opening of that one goes, I am eventually going to put together an Absolute DC show. Maybe it'll only be like a half hour or so, to where we not only because I think it's just not enough for me to show you these and say, hey, buy these. I want to start talking with you guys. You guys that come watch these shows. What are you thinking about these? What are you thinking about? How are you interpreting these characters? So I think that we have enough runway, a year and a half now, to dedicate at least 30 minutes a week and have an absolute DC show. Now that we're starting to get the ground under us, we have absolute Catwoman coming out, which I think
Again,
is
we're
going to
just now seeing crossovers happen too.
Yeah, after DCKO #4, it's all out there. So yeah, I think that's when I'm gonna start. And I still have my interview with Scott Snyder that he's promised me, but it's February, and he's busy. He will be here in May.
Again, Jay Oliva also is making these are guys who are like you can't. I mean, these are busy dudes. You can't. I mean, it's like, for them to even like make the offer, it's like you can't get. It's like and then just like have trouble penciling in. And love you. It's like love to have mom, but again, it's like they got careers and demanding schedules they got to address first. So it's like it's no slight, but it's like once we get them on,
and I'm a YouTube nobody. I'm like one of the smallest channels.
Well, and you again, like the fact that again you're DMing directly with Snyder and getting like the early release copies of all Absolute issues. I mean, that's a hell of a gesture on his part.
If you partake in piracy, then I guess everything would be.
I got it off of Amazon. So that's Amazon Prime. There's one from Bell. Any movies I'll look forward to this year? Well, I was talking about my most anticipated. Aaron's was The Furious.
To say two people great. Part 3, Spider-Man, New Day, and Avengers Doomsday for me.
And again, just looking at the release calendar, I just really noticed this year, more so than most years, it's just so much of what I'm anticipating is like it's just so lopsided to like from like May onward. I mean, not to say that again, once you get to the summer, that's when they really start opening the floodgates as far as like tentpoles. But just this year in particular, I really noticed it's like I wouldn't say it's like a dead zone before like May, but it's a lot quieter than I'm used to as far as like what I'm really most anticipating. I don't know if that's the same for you.
Because we promote them, I look at them differently. It's more of I look at the calendar differently than I do if I was just a regular fan, so it's really hard for me to think of it that way. But because I look at the date differently. I look at the date as a build-up for how we're going to promote most of these things than it is. I can't wait to see it. That's part of it, but it's just a little bit different because we're talking about.
It's kind of interesting too because we've got an Avengers movie and a Star Wars movie both this year, which is the first time we've had that in about 7 years now. But they're flipping in terms of where they sit on the schedule. So you got Star Wars in summer and Avengers for Christmas. It's just the last decade or so we're kind of more used to the opposite with them.
Yeah, it's definitely. And like I said, I think dynamics change these things when they concentrate these things now. A lot of them are concentrated on the summer holiday, like a movie at the heart of a summertime is going to do better than a movie at the end of summertime, because I truly believe that that back to school affected Fantastic Four.
And well, it didn't tank by any means, but
but it meant I think it had a significant effect, but it didn't like destroy it or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Well, like in like the three, I think we talked a bit about in the lead up to that. I mean, like as far as like because that came out in July, and you had like 3 big blockbusters in July. Those are Superman, Jurassic World, and Fantastic Four. And Superman,
Jurassic World came out at the beginning of it.
Yeah, and Superman came right after, so they had the benefit of like coming pretty early, and then Fantastic Four was like right at the end of July, so it's like a kind of it was as far as like a lot of people's like as you say like families. I mean, in particular, it's like I only see a movie a month if that. So it's like if you got 3 big
now I got to buy school clothes, get
and if you got 3 big blockbusters to choose from for your family movie night out in July, it's like and then 2 of them already come out. I mean, Fantastic Four unfortunately kind of got the short end of the stick, scheduling wise on that.
Yeah, like I said, you got once Fantastic. I don't know what the thinking was, but but once it affects a small business like me.
Well, the thinking partly was they wanted to have some breathing room from Superman and Jurassic World for it too. They didn't want they want to like stack these things like week after week after week, so they wanted to have like at least 2 weeks.
But if they would have done it if they would have come out the week before Jurassic World, they would have been better off.
Well, yeah, but that
Because
would
you're
have been
talking
June
about
then.
yeah, but you're also talking about you're still in your summer vacation. We're pretty much at the beginning. If you do it at the end of June, you're at the beginning of the summer vacation for the most part, or just now beginning, and you're not talking about once August comes around. A lot of these schools here start first second week of August, so now you're talking about budgeting. If you
It's
have kids,
crazy. I see
yeah,
so many kids in the school, or I hear like or like a lot of these assistant instructors too, where they're still a little bit younger. I'll ask them like, "When's your summer start and when's your summer end?" I mean, just the windows I hear, where it's like, I mean, they're starting as early as like the first week of August, and their summer break starts like the first week of June. It's like they're just the window of like their summer break is just getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
so the last week of summer or the last week of July heads into the first week of so you're already starting your spending, because I know sales for a luxury place like this is going to drop because it's medical, it's food, registration. If your kids are in sports, football, you have so many things that you know that become a priority once school starts. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
this
think
is
that
why I'd
that
be
that
really, this is why I'd be really curious to see the like the the data or the figures on things like AMC A list, memberships to theaters, where it's like you can't, where you can see things with your subscriptions either free, but even then it's like, again, single guy, no kids.
that's
You know,
what I
you
mean. Yeah, it
you,
doesn't.
for those of you who don't have A list, AMC A list, it's like basically like $27 a month. You can have 4 freebies a week. So for me, that's I mean, like 95% of what times I go to the theater, it's like that's how I'm paying, and I don't end up paying because I have the subscription. And for me, I'm not married, I don't have kids. So that's very
And plus,
economically
the theater
efficient.
wants they want the fours and the fives and the sixes coming. The single
Yeah,
guy, yeah,
yeah,
sure.
and then when you've got like a family of 4, because the A list membership, it's not like 4 showings for like groups of people, it's 4 tickets. So it's like if you got a family of 4, you're going to use your A-list membership on something, you got to use like all 4 of those showings for all 4 people that night. So that blows through your whole week's worth of that in one sitting there.
Yeah, or unless you're going with a wife or whatever that has their own A list, and it helps them out that way. But when it comes to families, A list doesn't really do you any good because they get for the reasons you put out there. All right, guys. What trailer's out?
No, I mean, nothing he told me about.
Your sound is like
Nothing he told me about.
um. Didn't we do Monarch? We already did Monarch, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we did.
What trailer fourth? I mean, I can't remember which one.
Well, there is something I did want to play though.
No.
Yeah, why not? It's for my birthday.
That's we said happy birthday to you.
No, but we gotta do it the right way.
No, because you're gonna play some dumb shit that's gonna get us.
It's not gonna be dumb. It involves Freddie Mercury.
The movie Freddie or the actual guy. Well, that's definitely gonna get us demonetized.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, we can't play that.
It's the piano scene. Happy birthday to me.
That's gonna get us struck. No.
But it doesn't matter because it's my birthday and that's what I like
No,
to do on my birthday.
I
I play that every year.
I don't want to have the stream pulled down.
It's worth it. Are you not respecting your co-host's birthday?
Nope. Sorry. Play that
Foul
on,
man.
You can play that.
Oh, is that? Well, yeah, because there's like a dinosaur documentary on Netflix. I don't think that's what worth talking about though.
Okay, so I thought I showed the Monarch trailer because I can't wait for that. That's the 27th of the month, and we're gonna go watching that because I really enjoyed that show. I enjoy the Legendary stuff. I know a lot of people were always dogging it. And I'm like, just because you have a war movie with Godzilla in it doesn't mean that that's the blueprint for Godzilla. And the next person that says that, I just want to throw them somewhere. This is how you make Godzilla movies. No, this is how you make that Godzilla movie. I love that movie, but I love my Godzilla versus Kong and my Monarch. I don't want any of them to change. I think they've shown that they could both coexist. your moneymaker is going to be the legendary one because you keep putting subtitles in these movies. It diminishes your American audience. So you're going to make decent money. But if Godzilla -1 was in English, just straight up English, no dub or nothing like that, then you're talking about a movie that, you know, the American audience, more American of the American audience can relate to. Whereas Godzilla versus Kong, that's, you know, it's the same shit Toho was doing back then, just with less money. All right, guys, that is it for tonight. We're at 2 hours now, a little bit more than I wanted to be, but we got jammed up because of all that bullshit with StreamYard. Fuck you, StreamYard. That's it. I will not be on the air tomorrow with our show. I will most likely, if Dave invites, I will be there. And then Saturday we'll have our standard show. I might do Chappie. Send me a message if you want to do this on Saturday. This Saturday and Sunday are going to be the best days. Otherwise, we're doing it like Monday at midnight or some shit like that. So, but we will have our Saturday overnight live show. Not much going on that we didn't cover, but who knows what will happen. I mean, 48 hours, shit could get real weird real quick. But I think I've covered everything. I might read a little bit more and discuss some more comics. But we have we're still reviewing 1986, 1996. I think we're going to do the 30th anniversary of Independence Day. So that's one that might come out here. So yeah, got a lot to talk about. If we think hard enough.
That's coming up in July, so. Do you want to do that now, or do you want to save that for July?
I who knows? Because it's really hard because there's not a lot of movies released in fucking February and January 1986. So it's kind of a desert if I would do it that way. So
we definitely got to do. We've done a lot of watch parties in Penn State. We're definitely do one for that 30th anniversary.
Yeah, I think we've done it. We did Independence Day too. We just didn't do Resurgence.
We've done it multiple times, yeah. And every time we talk about how William wants them to wreck on the second one. And
yeah, just it didn't happen. Give me Colonel Tiller or General Tiller now, wherever he is. Get me all the people back, and it never happened. You won't have to recognize that. Hell, listen. I'm telling you guys, House of Asher, Spartacus, their excuse for that guy died. That guy literally, Asher had his fucking head taken off. And here he is at the head of his own series. So it can happen. Now they need to do the same thing for the last few episodes of Game of Thrones too. All right, guys. That is it. Please like, subscribe, and share. And I am going to deal with StreamYard in the morning, because I am tired of my streams getting jammed up because they're a Frankenstein product. So all the social media stuff is, I don't think I put it in here yet, but I'll put it in there on the edit. So that's it. If you got anything beyond what we have here, leave it in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. If you leave something stupid in the comments, I'm just going to delete it. You know, and you all anybody who's thinking about leaving something stupid in the comments, you know who you are. Assume that your shit's not going to get seen. Not because I don't have a wide array of opinions, but I just don't want you wasting my viewers' time. So, all right, until then, like, subscribe. See you later.
See you guys.